I was actually kind of looking forward to having a president again who could field strip a carbine with, blindfolded.
Which would be
Buttigieg.
No.
When he was
he
running,
would lose every single black American voter.
possibly,
And
but
most of the Hispanic because of his what was it? Stop and search or
Oh
whatever.
no, that's
Bloomberg.
Oh, that's Bloomberg.
That's
No,
not
he
the
also
stop.
had problems in his town as well.
Yes,
okay.
he did, but
Not as bad as Bloomberg, though.
Bloomberg did the stop and frisk thing.
Okay, I was thinking it was. I'm getting them confused.
Yeah. Bloomberg is the one who was mayor of New York for a while. And will have great
Buttigieg.
difficulty carrying New York, the New York metro area as a result. Everybody who
But
remembers
the one
it
that was
voted
stop
against
and
him.
frisk, I mean, he's
Yeah.
not gonna get.
Well, he's still in. He's not.
But
out
he's
in-
he's
got
still
$5
in.
billion of his own
Right.
money that he could
Mhm.
spend on a campaign.
Yeah.
And
So-
he can spend his money as long as he likes, but I predict that when he gets to the convention, he will have less than 10% of all the delegates, and other people will be able to say, go away, you bother.
When Buttigieg was running for mayor, his opponent was slamming on him for the NRA. He'll never support. He'll never support gun rights.
Well,
So Buttigieg put out a commercial where he field strips and reassembles an M4 blindfolded.
Okay.
Okay, that's, that's a talent of some use, I'll grant.
Where did you pick up that?
He was in the
military.
army.
Okay.
he was also in intelligence.
It looks like Biden is leading on the delegates by quite a bit over Bernie.
Yeah.
161 to 96.
And Warren is hovering around
Well,
10 to 12%.
Warren on this little graph that's being brought up that shows Biden at 161 shows Warren at 8.
Well, we'll
But
see
then
how
again,
he does tonight.
that's AP. So, and yeah.
All right.
In Texas, Biden, Sanders, and Bloomberg are three-way tie.
Yeah, I am sorry to hear that Bloomberg is doing that well
Yes.
in Texas.
Oh, also doing that well in Tennessee.
He has really spent a lot of money on advertising.
Yes.
Oh, I know. There was a period we were getting something from his campaign every day, and as soon as we were sure that yep, that's who it's from, it went to the recycling bin on open.
Yeah.
There's been previous races that have helped establish that no amount of money will make people who already don't like you like you.
Well, maybe he's trying to prove that, yes, you can buy the presidency a second time.
Well, I suspect it's not going to work out for him.
I was listening to the BBC on the way here, and they were analyzing Super Tuesday, and reporters were saying that number one, people aren't making their decision until they get right up to the ballot.
Possibly.
I was
And-
almost there. I decided maybe an hour before.
And as they interview them on exiting, the dominant factor is who can beat Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their policies don't matter, it's who can beat Trump.
Not that their policies don't matter at
Well-
all, but first
Their
thing,
policies are so close to each other.
mostly.
Well,
Bernie's the one that is probably best for the environment. As I see it, Warren is the one who's shown she can get stuff done.
She's also got a good claim on being best for economic justice and
And
you know,
bankruptcy and such.
Yeah.
But she pissed off all the billionaires, all
well, yeah.
percent of them, or half
I'm
of
sure
them.
she, I'm sure she considered that a strategic move that she's willing to risk pissing off the billionaires.
We are streaming.
Oh,
And I have
sorry.
updated my. I have
Sorry
updated
for all
my
the
socials.
politics.
Yes. Well, we start out in just chatting, so I mean, people aren't
Still,
instantly expecting gaming, but yeah, I would rather a
So,
less aggravating topic.
so from my point of view, when last we left our heroes, they had just teleported into a church. I assume some things happened last
yes.
week.
yes,
The
a
church-
compromise was arrived at.
Yeah?
Yes, the church had another
Very
defensive
powerful
system.
individual.
Well, that was not just the church.
That
They-
was-
That
we
was
had
the-
not disabled the third defensive system, which we discovered what it was.
Yes, there was a shaman who was maintaining dream time within the confines of the church,
Mm,
and yeah. So
And there was discussion of whether we just try and escape the dream time and come back in after somebody who can evidently transition easily between dream time and reality. Or if we have a talk with him and see if a compromise could be arrived at. And well, he wants the person responsible for the death of
his son.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. Tony. Was
Yeah.
it Big Tony? Yeah, Big Tony. Anyways, death of him done, which caused some confusion because not everyone was sure who had killed him as players. Characters all knew. Or no, the players all knew, the characters didn't.
Right.
Yes.
But anyways, we were trying to use the name of the person who had killed his son as leverage to have him back off on this whole thing. And evidently he found out that there was a link. Someone in our group was heavily involved in the son being there.
Yeah.
Well, the way he seemed to be talking about it, he had information that Shadow Jack was in some way responsible for the death of his son.
Oh, he hadn't said Shadow Jack.
Okay.
He had said
Well,
one
that's
of
because
us
Shadow
were-
Jack was stealthed the whole time.
Yes, that would
That-
complicate the issue somewhat.
He couldn't just point and say, that guy.
True, true. Anyways, so a compromise was reached. Annie isn't going to abandon the rest of you. The rest of you has agreed to return the dead physical body of
The
person.
whole, the whole body, not
Yeah.
just part of it.
Yep, the whole body. Understanding that, well, injuries will happen, and
Yeah, you're going to be killing her, so.
but
presumably there will be injuries.
hopefully, mostly her. Anyways, the physical body, and he won't. He will call off his vendetta on us.
You may have some leeway on that aspect to talk to him.
Yes, because Annie really wasn't aware of what had happened, and she just had the thing of, "I won't abandon my friends." She was really uncomfortable with this whole kill thing.
Yeah.
So
The first aspect I have no problem with. The second one, it's been long enough since we set helped set Tony up for whatever, whatever exactly did him in. I'd be a little worried that we are in effect going after a good guy or a good guy.
We were assured that it was not a good person.
Yes, Shadowjack, in fact, informed you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
And John Doe was informed of who it was and confirmed what Shadow Jack said.
Yes.
Okay.
But John Doe, John Doe is good at trickery.
Yeah, but he wouldn't try to set the rest of us up to protect somebody who
it
didn't
is
deserve
going to-
it unless he was desperate.
It is going to cause problems.
Yes, unless he had to.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be desperate, but if he's required to do something, he will do it.
And John Doe is covered by these aspects as well.
Yeah.
Interesting observation in the dream time.
Mm-hmm.
All of us were in disguise, but in the dream time, none of us were in disguise.
Yeah.
And
Mysteries
the
stuff
problem
like
is
that.
John Doe
Looked like 8 people at once.
like 8 superimposed people at one time.
Uh-huh. Because none of the rest of us were using disguise of a mind. We were merely
He's living
fussing
disguise
around
of a mind.
with what we
read
look
the
like.
I am aspects.
Uh-huh.
Those are parts of my personality. I am each of those people.
Uh-huh.
At all times. I am all of them.
Although I'm guessing in most situations, 1 or 2 would be
Yeah,
at the
I mean, I have a
forefront and the
face
rest would
forward
be-
normally,
yes.
but in the dream time,
Uh-huh.
It gets confusing.
it does get confusing if you're John Doe.
Now, I busted, okay, yeah, never mind. That would not have, Edgy would have been going kind of, yeah, that confirms a few things I sort of
Yeah.
slightly suspected.
We were not told who actually killed his son until after we had left. So that was when Annie found out who it was. But we were told that this would cause mayhem, shall we say.
Well, there are
Your
worse
lateness
things
is
than
early,
mayhem.
or your earliness is late, or something. You didn't take a full half hour.
People will object to this activity.
Yeah, well,
Powerful people.
well, what do we do that nobody objects to? Have dinner at the Century Club.
Smuggled liquor is objected to by some people.
Oh yes, there are a number of federal and state officials that would be really unhappy. Some that it's happening at all, and others that they're not getting a generous cut.
All those little details.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I should probably update my sheet to say refresh rate of 41. Figure out another aspect.
That's Teddy. He's visiting us for the week. He goes home Saturday afternoon. What was that? We don't get any of this.
What is it? Pickle? No, he finished the pickle. Yeah.
Or pineapple.
Ah, yeah.
Are you
that.
being my friend because I have food? Or you just
Oh,
Well,
Teddy
that's
is
the
very
way dogs work, yes.
if there was any, if you looked likely to share some, be your friend forever, or at least as long as you can remember.
I smell KAT.
Until somebody else comes along who might be sharing something.
Uh-huh.
You want to come up here? What's that? What's that right there?
So we are all back in New York.
Well, some of us are still on the way, right? Or
Well,
we're just gonna hand wave.
we'll just hand wave it.
That's fine with me.
It took a number of days. You did get back to New York.
Yep. Speed of plot is fine with me.
Presumably, when he's talking about calling off the vendetta, he's taking into account that there are some kinds of criminal activity that we don't have much patience with it going on right under our noses, and we're not
Well,
promising to ignore
I mean,
other
that was
illegal
not
things
discussed.
he might be up to.
But
he
he
was
said
retired.
His
He,
henchmen
he,
might be
he
up to it,
mentioned that he is retired.
yeah. Okay, well, fine.
However,
So that was you not here. You don't get to participate.
Well, I understand the not getting to participate. I'm just wanting to be up to
he
speed on some
says he's
details.
retired.
Oh,
If
I
we
see.
go
Well,
after
stop.
him, then it's on us. If he goes after us, well,
Yeah,
he
I
broke
trust
his
the
leg.
shadow implicitly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think this guy's... No. He was retired.
He swore an oath that, you know, if you guys do what you said you were going to do, that
The vendetta is
the
up.
vendetta is off.
Yeah,
He never swore that he was done with crime.
yeah, which
Mhm.
means...
He never swore that he was completely out of it. He just swore that the vendetta would be off.
Yes.
It doesn't mean he's going to be...
If he jaywalks, I don't want you murdering him for jaywalking.
No, I don't
I
think
don't
any
think-
of us, probably
I think-
not even Jack.
I don't think
seriously
most of us would do
do
that.
Wow.
That's a real solid wishy-washy statement.
No, it's a very solid statement. I trust in Jack. If somebody's gonna be ruthless, it is Jack.
Yeah.
It's just in his spirit.
Yes, well,
Uh-huh.
and we mentioned how none of Annie's aspects say anything about justice.
Oh, what a surprise. I'm interested in justice.
The person in question is the current leader of the Hong Kong Import-Export Company, or the nominal current leader.
The daughter of
Yeah. Well,
I think she's actually granddaughter, but
your
whatever.
granddaughter. Okay.
Yes. She is the granddaughter.
So, since I'm not really happy about this situation, yeah, I would have thought we could have done better. I used to find mysteries at fair. I couldn't really do much.
Yes.
There was also the problem of none of us are very good at this whole negotiation thing.
It doesn't matter. You know, I mean, they're using mysteries on us, and our top mysteries guy was not able to beat their top mysteries guy on your company. So, I don't think I really want to be the one who kills her.
I suspect that if Salvatore goes back on his word there, the grandfather might have something to say about
The
shaman.
shaman.
it. Yes.
The shaman, yes. That's what Rick was calling him. Correct.
Yep.
It is a term of respect.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Well, Aldecott.
Oh, there was one other interesting thing.
Mhm.
The shaman seems to be neither shadow nor spirit. He was giving a neutral vibe rather than good or evil.
That is interesting. Kind of tangential though. I've got
It is.
no quarrel with him. I'm willing to I am willing to have more or less a truce with Sal, assuming that he stays retired as far as anything going on that we can easily
he-
find out about.
He right now completely controls Alice Springs, it seems.
You know,
I don't think you investigated enough to say that for certain, but yes, it seems like.
Strong influence there. Let's put it
Yes,
that
he's
way.
got a very strong influence.
He owns the church.
The Catholic Church there, yes, he owns that. That's his.
and I'd
We
be
did
surprised-
not do a lot of snooping around, but
Yeah.
it just has the feeling of he probably is controlling a large portion of the town.
At the very least, I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a silent partner interest in the bar. I think, I think that would be, that would be a potential information source he wouldn't risk leaving uncovered.
I believe we hit the main highlights for you.
Mhm.
So, we need to arrange Young Lee's demise.
Yes, and Sal had no interest in doing it himself. They specifically stated that. Don't bring me them alive. I want the dead body.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not thrilled about that. She's not an ally, and she's not a good person, but we have kind of
Yes.
sort of we have kind of sort of cooperated, and I hate to
That's why I'm not killing him. You want to kill her.
I hate to go from that to okay, we're trying to kill you now.
Come on, what happened to your ruthless justice? She's a criminal, and you saw her murder somebody.
Well, I saw her order Big Tony. Gosh darn, I'm feeling really bad about that.
Well, it's still murder. It doesn't make it not murder because he is a terrible person. She didn't murder him because he was a terrible person. She murdered him because he was a competitor.
Granted.
Killing somebody is easy. Killing somebody and taking their body is more complicated.
No, it isn't.
Somewhat.
Not for
But no.
me.
True. Not for you.
Well, it does reduce the number of ways that you're going to kill them. You can't, for instance, throw dynamite at them, blow them up, because that will not leave much of the body. Yeah, C is another thing that you probably don't want to be using on there. You don't want
Explosives
to.
in general are not the right approach.
Um,
Poison's probably not a good bet either. She knows too many of them.
Yes, she would probably. I mean,
And
she
antidotes
runs an
all over.
herbalist shop, so a Chinese herbalist shop. So she probably has a general grasp of toxins and antitoxins.
Biotin.
Which kind of mostly gets it down to gun, knife, or blunt instrument.
And her weapon of choice is a stiletto.
That seems to be the case. Yes, she has.
She has killed multiple times with stilettos in the eyes.
Yeah.
Might want to wear safety glasses.
Yes, obviously. Now is the time to put your goggles on.
So now we just have to recruit a blind man.
I don't
Yeah,
think that
the
prevents-
stiletto doesn't stop when it's penetrated the eye, okay?
Not to mention, there just aren't that many competent blind assassins in the
No.
world. It's a really rare category,
I'm thinking she would have better contacting Franklin than we would.
probably.
Yeah.
Well, then I would say, okay, probably narrow it down to gun or blunt instrument then.
Or mysteries.
Granted, but
She has some knowledge of it, but
either she has more than she's so far shown, or she has
well,
employees or consultants or colleagues that are better at it than she
the
is.
shop has worked.
Whether she did them herself or had somebody else do them, I don't think is something we've tested.
Well, I guess Grandpa did those.
Yeah, I mean, he was the owner of the shop
So all that crap there.
before he went to prison.
Right. And she was probably tagged by the wards as assistant manager and right hand gal before he was removed from that particular game. So it'd be easy for her to say, it's okay. Okay, it's my shop now.
Well, I have an idea.
Well,
I say we disguise ourselves as a bunch of Italians, and when we attack her, we pretend to be Italians. And we
So you're gonna talk with your hands a lot.
talking like this.
Yes. And you're Mario, and you're Luigi Mario.
No. Giovanni.
Uh-huh.
Anthony. Vito. Oh, that has to be an Italian name. Vito.
so wanted to start up trouble between
The Italians and the Chinese.
yeah.
That is what he was saying. He wants to point the finger at the Italians.
In order to do that, something would have to be done so that when someone does a card reading, they are shuttled to the answer of who ordered the hit.
Yeah, card or whatever else.
This is as close to Annie who comes to saying, hey, the mystery's better redirect.
No. The origin of this hit is Fat Sal.
Yeah.
He is the origin.
Uh-huh.
So if somebody does a tarot read, the head man in charge
Yeah,
of the
you're
origin-
doing it because he told you to.
So it's going to be
Because
him.
you agreed to and swore an oath to.
And she'll get it that it's Fat Sal, and she'll understand exactly why he might want her head on a stick.
Well, she'll be
But
dead, but okay.
yeah.
But she'll understand why.
It isn't she that we would be thinking about. We are thinking about all of the others in her organization who would want vengeance.
On the Italian.
Yeah.
Gosh darn. The
If
Italian mob gets attacked by the Chinese pawn. I'm really crying here.
if we are going to take her out, not having the rest of the Tong in the area coming after us would be nice. I'll grant.
Then we probably need a little bit more advanced disguises than just picking random names.
And talking like this.
Yeah. We probably need a little bit more than that, and it would be nice to have found out where she lives, find out whereabouts she goes, her general schedule, so that we have the background information to choose when to attack.
That would be nice.
We definitely need intelligence to start.
How are we doing there?
We are so screwed.
That is not true. There are members of the group who are very smart.
Just not good at this whole
Yes, but
cloak and daggers.
it's more like idiot savants, though.
Anybody who has academics at great, that's where your academics are, right?
Mhm.
is really smart.
Well,
And just about any question you can ask, he would be able to answer.
No pressure, Scott.
Well, I think Simon would agree with that, right?
Mhm.
There might be some questions that you would be hesitant. Personal details about Baba Yaga. Maybe
Yeah.
don't try that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give her a hot foot and see how she handles it.
I mean,
It would not be good.
You think it'd be risky to ask the Akashic record what her favorite kind of tea is?
yes,
I
actually.
suppose possibly it might.
Probably be Englishman's blood.
That's not tea, but whatever.
Preferably cultured in a warm, dry climate.
Who was this that was being
Baba
asked?
Yaga.
Yeah.
Simon being asked Baba Yaga's favorite tea.
And we should avail ourselves to John Doe
Yeah.
and his disguise ability that says it's better than mine.
Yeah. I think we are definitely going to.
Well,
definitely
we had an
going to
invite
use
to
much
meet
help.
with him. So
Yeah.
And I'm a good liar. He's a better liar.
This is true. And I think you're a better liar than any of the rest of us.
Let me know what I am. Sounds an Eddie.
I will grant you it does. I could just eat it mediocre. I have everything.
So we are discussing this probably at the Century Club.
Probably.
I mean,
in
you-
somebody's.
I
room
would
or
rather do it
office
at the
with door
Brownstone than the
closed.
Century
That's
Club.
Really?
true. Warded.
Okay.
The Century Club does have
More protection.
better protections against somebody from the outside listening in.
I did not know that. Okay.
Fine.
I mean, you don't do it in the common room.
No.
You do it in one of the offices, the meeting rooms upstairs.
Mhm.
Okay.
Up-
Upstairs
second
meeting room with the door closed. Sure. That would be a good place.
I also say hitting sooner is better than later.
True. Because news leaks. Especially
He
given
has
time.
no reason to not let it be known.
Yeah.
okay. Two thoughts spring to mind. We swoop in and get her all at once. She's gone, and the war breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
We'd rather like to have her hatchet men somewhere else as much as possible when we do that. So,
Diversion of some sort.
how about we actually start a war between the Tong and the Italians?
Could be done. I mean,
Well,
they're so friendly to start with, it would be hard work.
it probably is going to be somewhat hard work
I know.
because the Tongs have mostly taken out the Italians already.
Yeah, the Italian mob has really fallen apart after Big Tony got killed and Fat Sal fled. There wasn't anybody to be in charge.
And we
was the
recently
plan.
took out yet another of the
And-
lieutenants.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you attacked Fat Sal, you took out, what was it, 3 or 4 of his lieutenants.
However many were on hand.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah.
however
and
many left.
The one that was
Yeah.
So-
investigating us, we also took out.
yes. So,
We didn't take her out. Take him out.
I thought we did.
No, our girlfriend did. So we're gonna murder her.
Oh,
anyway, so, like, all of the people who had been running
the operation.
the operation were either dead or gone.
Mhm.
And yes, because they're stunts, he got his lieutenants back, but he was living in Alice Springs.
Uh,
So, So they weren't really running the operation in New York City.
It's
Um,
not vital.
So it's basically a lot of low-level thugs who are just looking for work almost,
So
of the beat people up and kill people variety.
Right.
like this
steal
jackass
stuff.
who just walked into that diner and said, "I'm starting my own protection racket."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was really stupid of him.
Which was rather
But
entrepreneurial,
low-level
but
criminals
dumb.
are often very stupid.
Uh-huh. So, do we scour the city and find the Italians that are least stupid and, relatively speaking, best tacticians of what's left, and figure out some way to helpfully point them at the vulnerable Tong operations.
The best way would be to have someone come from Italy,
Yeah, I was thinking a nice boat from
Sicily.
Sicily.
or
Yeah.
Sicily, whatever,
Could be better.
and help direct the minions. So that the war can break out.
Have you ever wanted to be a copy to
Sicilian?
copy?
I was just going to say, so either we're setting one of us up as a fake Italian mob boss, or we have to recruit someone that can play the part convincingly.
I was suggesting we'd have to have one of us come in as a Sicilian. Yes.
I know
That-
who'd be most
Okay.
likely to be able to pull it off. I don't know if we can talk him into it.
There's only one person here who can lie well. If somebody questions you, what are you going to do? Roll your mediocre deceit?
I'm not
I mean, it's not
proposing
gonna
it
work.
be me. I'm not proposing it be me. My first choice would be John Doe
Doe.
probably already has useful background information to
Well,
pull off
John
something
Doe
like
is
that if he were willing to do it. If.
John Doe is hopefully at least be able to give us an identity that we can assume.
Okay.
That I
could
think
be
that
helpful,
there are
I
only
think.
two people other than John Doe in our group that can do anything, and one of them is the wrong gender.
Yeah. Another possibility is that if we could find somebody who left New York because of disagreements with Salvatore as he was working his way up,
Mm-hmm.
and has been working his way up somewhere else and decides to come back and fill the power vacuum.
Well, that
That
certainly
could be pulled
is
off.
possible.
The only way to keep this guy silent would be to go where he is and take him out, and then plant the story that he moved back to New York because he heard that the mob was weak and what he'd have to make a game plan.
Or we convince him that, hey, now is a good time to take over Salvatore's old operation, put your lieutenant in charge of what you've already established, and go retake New York.
I don't want to bring any more criminals into New York.
Okay?
It's one more.
Yeah. Who's going to notice? And if they get in the way, we'll just put them into City Hall.
Yeah.
It'll really do some damage.
Well,
Yeah.
And it is admittedly true that by his mere presence, anybody who meets my criteria, by his mere presence of appearing in New York,
Mm-hmm.
well, not just appearing in New York, but appearing in New York and getting to work,
Mm-hmm.
that would get the war going.
Yeah, but do we really need a war? Really? I mean, what's wrong with disguising ourselves as Italians, surveilling the Tong, especially its leader, surveilling them, learning her routine, learning when she's the most vulnerable, and having a bunch of Italians attack? And we make sure that we don't kill everybody. So people who are left behind say damn Italians did this. And they go after the Italians, and we go to Alice Springs.
It probably will. Let's see. Yeah, that would have the higher probability of achieving the assassination. As long as nobody's potent enough to pierce the disguise.
That's why we have John Doe do it. I have him take his time. That is the only reason I would bring him
Boy,
in.
it'd be a real pisser if she imported a shaman from Australia and we end up in the Dreamtime again.
She wouldn't do that. If she imports a mystery specialist, it won't be from Australia.
Also, if
No.
you start a war, she might change her routine and go deeper down. Harder
There
to
is
track.
that.
That is true.
And I don't
There
like
is
that.
The point being to take her out first, although
Yeah.
limiting collateral damage to non-criminals in New York is definitely on the list.
So, it's never just her. She always has the one large
Yes.
pedal there.
Yeah.
Listen. Don't judge a book by its cover. In one of our earliest adventures, there was this real big guy. I shot him in the knee and he died. Which is where the joke comes from, by the way.
Yeah.
This guy was a cream puff, okay?
I
Didn't look like a cream puff.
think,
Didn't act like a cream puff.
but I wouldn't call him a cream puff.
I would.
I'd say he was just an ordinary thug.
Yeah, he was a
didn't
one box.
yet appreciate how flimsy ordinary thugs could be. I suspect her bodyguard is way tougher than that.
Yeah.
One would hope.
I suspect that is the obvious guard.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, meaning there will be non-obvious ones. Yeah, that's.
Remember Deadshot Daniel's girlfriend?
I do.
Remember how many spirit companions she had?
Yes.
Half a dozen, or was it a
I think
dozen?
it was 5.
Okay, it was
My
a lot.
impression is it was
It was
5.
a lot. Okay?
Enough that they were able to keep my guy busy for a little bit by, in effect, playing pinball with him.
And enough to be able to spy on anybody important in New York and find out all their secrets.
Yeah. No,
I blackmailing him really easy.
it had already occurred to me that in addition to disguises, however we play this, we're going to need more sneakiness on both surveillance and anti-surveillance sneakiness on the mystery side of things.
Well, that's not an area of my expertise. But I say hitting her fast is a lot better than trying to make out this war. I think it's just a bad idea.
You may be right about that.
Okay. A group of Italians show up and hit her
Yeah.
and disappear.
Yep.
Well, okay, continue.
We have to leave some kind of trace that leads back to the Italian mob.
No, we'll leave the fat south.
That would count as leading them, but we can't. We got to do something so that we're not. These Italians mysteriously appeared out of nowhere, took her out, and then disappeared, because that looks like somebody's trying to place the blame on the Italians.
It does, rather.
Okay.
So we disguise ourselves as the Irish, who are disguised as the Italians.
You're getting into the same problem as starting a war.
That's just
The
more
more-
disguises, that's
The
all.
more complicated the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain.
Yeah.
Better off go with the KISS principle here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it starts with getting more information on
Yeah.
her
Mm-hmm.
her activities.
Yeah.
and her, if we can find them, defenses.
Okay.
Yeah.
We find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 Italians or Sicilians
Mm-hmm.
using research. We become them. We arrive here on a boat. We actually go to Sicily, get on a boat, come here.
So what is the
I could
current
use
date?
a week on a boat.
Um,
It
The
was
last
March
one I had-
1st.
The last I had was, it was March 1st.
And we crossed the international date line, so we had some extra March 1st.
Yeah.
yes.
2nd March 1st.
And it's been
This would be a
some
long
period of
one.
time after that.
Yes, Annie finally shows up 3 days later. So
Okay,
it's
so it is now March 4th.
March 4th.
Oh, it's Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
Not
Not-
really.
not yet.
Not May, March.
Not,
That's
yeah,
May
March.
the 4th
That's
anyway.
March,
Yes.
May.
Yeah, you want to confuse people? Go around making Star Wars jokes 50 years early.
Yeah.
It is one of the more amusing things that I've seen in time travel movies.
We could use a February, March.
So, first of all, is John Doe here for this conversation?
You have not invited him. You didn't go to his warehouse.
Nope. I think we
So
need
somebody
to,
has to do something like
I
that.
think we need to involve him because, at very least, he'll have good practical ideas on what can and cannot be done.
He'll have information we don't about a number of players and potential players.
And he has a very serious source of data.
So,
But still, the bottom line. Go ahead, Greg.
So- at what point do we invite him into the conversation?
when we finally have a plan, we can agree on,
Hey.
which means not necessarily everyone's happy.
I think having a plan before we have the information is the wrong way to go. John Doe is likely to have information that could lead to a better plan.
Well, a plan is something to deviate from.
We have a basis of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Sicily, become 5 or 6,
Sicilians.
Sicilian mobsters.
and head back to New York on a boat. I could handle a good 8-day cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you can hit a liquor store.
I don't think Rick has a problem acquiring liquor.
From
He certainly got a lot of practice
Sicily?
at it.
Galliano. Anyway,
That's true.
Yes, there are
some
specific Italian liqueurs, whatever, that
But-
you
I mean,
can
the
get
Chianti's
there.
because
easy. It's
he
the
doesn't have a
follow-these
ship,
that
he
are
has a
the problem.
boat. Okay, you can go like to Cuba and maybe Colombia, Haiti, Barbados, get rum.
And all of these places sound very appealing at the moment.
Well,
However,
yes, it's early March. It's cold out. So,
New York is just not the world's most scenic place to spend the winter either.
When
I was
is
spending
your
June.
June? Okay.
the wedding is June 8th.
So
And we want to have all of this comfortably out of the way well before then.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's go.
something
Come on.
else can interrupt it.
let's take
Have a
our
nice lively wedding.
let's take our basic framework and go to John Doe and see how we can improve upon it given the information he has available.
Second.
Sounds good.
is your wedding will go as smooth as Reed Richards and Sue Storms did.
Well, let's hope not.
That
You
story,
need a,
came out a long time ago.
yeah, you need to do a better job with the guest list than they did. You get that concentration of supers, something's going to happen.
The egos alone.
Well, it had nothing to do with the heroes.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it didn't. It was-
Moving along.
Let's.
How do we get in touch down there?
He
We
left
make a
us
phone call.
message.
Somebody called John Doe.
Yeah,
Okay.
multiple people have the phone number.
So,
It ain't me.
I will go ring him. Ask if he'd like to meet with us. When would be convenient? So ring.
Ring, ring, ring.
Yep.
So Hawk answers the phone. Hello.
Hi, Hawk. It's Annie. Is John available?
He's in bed right now.
Okay.
He sort of like just showed up a few days ago,
Okay.
but he was not in good shape. Something happened to him. I'm not sure what.
Okay. So tomorrow maybe.
He's woken up since then, but he's been in bed this whole time. Well, okay, he got out of bed to use the bathroom.
Then
But
I should definitely come by tomorrow.
somebody, if they want to talk to him, should probably. I mean, I don't even know if I could get him on the phone right now because it's not near his bed.
Understood. Thank you. I will most likely be showing up tomorrow. Probably with others. Thank
So-
you.
So we're going over there in an hour, right?
No.
No,
No.
hour and a half.
What time is it right now?
We'll say it's early afternoon. It's 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, it's 2 in the afternoon?
Yes.
I didn't understand. I thought it
After
was
dinner?
night.
After dinner?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then I'll say, well, then we'll probably show up later today.
Okay.
And I'll go back and tell the people that we should go check on John. Evidently, this had a bigger effect on him than.
Well, then we should have Simon look at him.
Probably more than just Simon. Okay.
Oh, you can look at him too.
Yes, you're
I will-
our best for. I don't know. Who'd be better at just regular medical, Andy or Rick?
He's even with me, I believe.
He's got holistic medicine.
Yes.
Or used to. I'm not thinking
I'm
about
good at medicine.
But doctor gives you a plus 2.
Well, no, I'm good at being a doctor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Science is average. And
Oh. Okay, then I'm
For
better.
about okay.
But,
Yes. You're
There are
not a
no remedies
licensed
to stretch it.
practitioner of medicine.
I'm not a licensed practitioner of medicine.
But
I'm not a
that's a
licensed
bureaucrat.
nuclear engineer. I'm not.
Yes.
They're
A
not
PhD.
even licensed in that one yet.
Yeah.
But from Andy's point of view, that's a mere technical detail. She knows everything she needs
Yeah,
to know.
she is confident dealing with medical matters.
Yes.
So
you
definitely.
should have John Doe make a fake. No, you should have me make a fake diploma for you.
Why?
Well, that way you can actually be a doctor. See, it's on the wall right there.
No, no one would believe it. They know that
My
women can
forgery
only
would be so good that they would believe
They
it.
know that women can only be nurses.
It would
I
be
don't
in a
remember
European
the year the
school.
first American woman got an MD off the top of my head.
It would have been before this.
Yeah, it's not that there are no women who are doctors,
They're just
It's
really.
but that's the prejudice. That's the
Mhm.
stereotype that
Yeah.
women can't be doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's quite possible that Annie could have gone to Columbia Medical School and graduated.
A real MD, and
Yeah.
people still wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they would look at it and go, "Oh, that's fake. It must be."
Anyway.
Okay. Well, my phone just buzzed over there, but that's fine.
So, I think we best see to our friend, Mr. Drundo.
So, when are we going over there?
After dinner?
If we want to wait that long,
Whatever you feel like.
Well, you made it sound like he's under the weather or something.
he won't get out of bed.
That
Some-
sounds like under the weather to me.
Yep.
Yep.
It,
Except to use the bathroom.
yes, well, he
hasn't.
that just
He's
shows
not just using a bedpan the whole
Right.
time.
He may be physically ill, he may be suffering from severe depression or some other psychosis brought on by what happened in the dream time.
I'm saying
until
get-
we see him, it's tough to say.
I'm saying getting yanked out of Russia and shoved into Australia in the dream time might have something to do with it. You know, just spitballing here, but
That would be part of what they said, something psychological. So, I'm thinking I'd rather go sooner than later.
Okay.
Sure.
well,
Give him, at least half an hour after.
So-
At least half an hour after you called, or
Yep.
talk to tell him that
So,
we called, so he's not caught by surprise.
well then.
what is it? Empathy to anticipate someone's likes and dislikes? and
Yeah,
such?
that would work.
Okay.
I mean, there are other stunts that help.
I
Yeah.
don't think I have any stunts that help. But I am going to attempt to think of something that might actually cheer him up, assuming that this is psychologically based.
Okay. So you're making an assumption and basing your
Yep.
your. All right.
And
Elizabeth Blackwell.
Is there a particular
1847.
psychological thing that you might think it is? For instance, depression.
reality suddenly shifting under his feet for multiple reasons. Because the whole thing.
Okay.
Something that I'm somewhat familiar
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. Okay.
The prospect of coming face to face to face to face to face to face with yourself.
We got a few.
Amusing thought, but yes.
So
Especially
let's
considering
see.
several of them were at war with each other not too long ago.
And I will use the aspect of mentored by John Doe.
Oh,
to
that
anticipate-
absolutely an appropriate aspect there. Yes.
So that brings my empathy to great.
Should be enough to make an educated guess.
Yeah. So. Something that would make him feel more at home, something that would remind him of New York City, which is his home. Possibly food based.
Okay.
So,
So
hot dog
locks.
from Coney Island.
That would what?
I said locks, but Coney dog might be better.
That would probably, if you can get it hot and fresh for him, yes.
We can manage that, I'm sure.
With brown mustard, not the yellow stuff. It's important.
So, good idea.
We will bring some of that with us.
All right.
An authentic New York lunch.
A banquet on a bun.
Well, usually you have more than just the dog, but yeah. And does Coney Island do it with
I'm
sauerkraut?
going to move you.
Or are they the chili dog?
No,
Oh, no.
they're not chili
Chili
dogs.
dogs are not.
Those are-
I've
those
never
are
visited
Chicago.
Coney Island, so.
The,
I've been to New York once, and it was very brief.
I went to New York once. It wasn't brief enough, and I very seldom left work.
Wow, I've done that before. Yes, that's unpleasant.
Yes.
I've been to New York as a tourist, but it was long, long ago.
Anyway, we
Anyway,
will say that it's just a plain dog with
Okay.
mustard.
Okay.
Hasn't had time to invent all those more complicated things.
Well, I mean, if it was a German sausage, serving it with sauerkraut would be fine, but this is not that. So you're there. I mean, if you took you could have taken the airship and dropped on his roof, or
well, it was 2 o'clock, so we have some time, right?
yeah, you said an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
so.
I said an hour and a half. He
Okay.
was
Something-
saying after dinner.
Well, but
No, I
once
proposed
once
after
he
dinner.
realized that it was early afternoon, he
I
had
changed-
her say
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
Oh, Okay, then I won't go surveil a certain import-export establishment.
But yes, so you
Actually,
fly
might
up
have
to
died.
Coney Island, not that far, get a hot dog, fly back.
Got a few hot dogs. There's a bunch of us.
Well,
I can.
I mean, not everybody wants a Nathan's hot dog, but I suppose.
Yeah, we're
Yes, fly back to Brooklyn.
if we're all showing up and
Show
we
up
can
on
make
the
it a little
doorstep.
informal.
Okay.
picnic. Hello, Paris. Wanna step up?
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks pretty much similar to the last time
We were there.
you visited. There's a roll-up garage door sort of thing and a normal door.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Knock. Because
I'm trying to remember when the last time was that Simon was here. I'm trying to remember if Simon has actually been here before.
At least
Annie
once,
has
I'm
been
pretty
here
sure.
several times.
Yes, she has.
Rick has never been here.
I've been here once.
No, I've been here at least once, but not. It would have been before the
You've
most
been at-
recent upgrade.
You've been there a couple of times at
Yeah.
least. And the last time didn't go so well.
Well, it wasn't the time here. It was
The time that you spent after having picked
Yeah.
him up here.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and I am still trying to figure out
How to make amends?
Well, I'm at this point. At this point, I figure the best I can do on that is he knows I want to make amends. He'll think of something. You know, I owe him a big favor. Is the all I can do. I'm just trying to figure out what to say. Wouldn't be polite to ignore him. Probably wouldn't be a good idea to pretend nothing happened.
Particular image. Fighting me. Stop fighting me.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of images, there's a neat one that's going around work right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's of the Dell warehouse in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was right in the path.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
What's amusing is
Does it not
It's-
exist anymore?
the exterior walls and roof are gone, but if you look closely, you can see all the stacks of boxes intact.
Huh. Tornadoes are weird sometimes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, tornadoes are weird usually. Every now and then they're in, combination bulldozer rotary saw mode, and there's nothing interesting about it. But
And the building just across the big parking lot is apparently untouched.
Okay, that is weird.
Not really.
Weird in a way typical of tornadoes.
Yes.
No, the 65 tornado went through Fridley.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of my dad's, he opened every window in the house. This is the only house standing on the block. Now it got hit by stuff, so it wasn't like, but at least it didn't blow to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got water in there, so it was unpleasant. But it didn't get blown to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't okay. This is what the building looks like right now, as opposed to back in 1924. But that's generally kind of what it looks like, except this door is over here right now in 1924.
Okay.
And so there's no door here. There's not any of that, and this extra stuff is not there. It's just a door that looks like that. And then there is this sort of
Nondescript garage door.
yes.
And presumably no billboard on the
There is no
building
Pet Delight billboard
or
there.
anything else.
No.
No,
So
nothing to call attention
so,
to this.
yeah, I mean
nondescript.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying none of this is here.
Yep.
This door is over here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that this is glass block,
Uh-huh.
and you can't see in it. So you can't look in the building. There's a metal sort of barrier in front of this door. That is, well, I mean, you've seen it from the other side. It looks like it's just flimsy, right? This?
Yeah, it is.
No. All of the security, is very,
Discreet.
yes. Anyway, so that's where you are.
Not
It is.
because that's how it's always worked. Or
Yes.
was.
There's a button.
Ring the
Yeah.
button.
Yeah, it's right along the door frame. So yeah, you press it, you hear a buzz from somewhere in there.
Smile towards the people.
Anybody want to make a investigation roll, I suppose?
Oh, why not? How low can it go?
Wow. Okay.
Really want
What are we
this
rolling?
is sound investigation.
Sure.
So we're rolling
I get a
investigation.
legendary.
Okay.
That's
Which
what I
just
got.
took rolling a +1.
I rolled a great,
Okay.
Lucky enough to do something.
Hey,
and I rolled slightly better.
Yeah. Wow.
I got a superb.
Okay.
Which,
Must
given
not
that I
matter
can bring any
very
jewelry, is
much.
pretty good.
Yes, that is pretty good. As a matter of fact, Superb was your target. Somewhere deep under this building, construction is going on.
Okay.
Oh, I know
Surprise.
that. So
Well, you knew it, but they
couldn't hear
didn't
it.
and heard it.
I couldn't hear it. I just
Yeah.
was where it was happening.
Hey Annie, how come I hear construction going on in here?
Oh, it's an upgrade. Yeah, he's upgrading his research library and other things.
Okay. This stupid doorbell work or what?
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
heard
it just
a
takes
something
buzzer.
takes-
Even Annie.
it just takes a little while for them to check who's there and
Yes.
allow us in.
So about 15 seconds later, 15 seconds. The metal thing in front of the door rolls up. The door opens, and it's Hawk.
Hi, Hawk.
Hello, Hawk.
We're gonna try and cheer him up.
Okay. Sure. Come on in.
Thank you.
And on a great empathy roll, what's my perception of how Hawk is feeling towards me now?
Neutral.
Okay. So what I
Better towards everybody else than neutral, but towards you,
yeah.
neutral.
So what I will do at present is just give him a nod and not attempt to
Yes.
not attempt to converse. Let him decide how how
He
quickly
thinks of you all
he will
as
let it.
friends of John Doe. You, unfortunately, he's a little.
Leery of
Yes.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not happy
I can understand
about the last
that.
time he went out.
Yeah, I can understand that. That was careless of me.
Anyway, so
So, Hawk,
yeah.
I brought a present for you. Bring out a bottle of Cuddy Sark.
Oh, well, thank you. Did you get that from Rick?
Did I hear my name?
He just gave me a bottle of Cuddy Sark, and
Oh, yes.
Hawk said, "Did you get that from Rick?" Because he
And
knows
the
what you
answer is,
do
of
for a
course.
living.
And the
Well,
answer is, of course.
I will. Everybody, wait right here.
Yep.
I will be right back. You don't see any place right. I mean, it's a warehouse. There's an office near the front, but there's no place to sleep. It's like there was a place to sleep the last time.
I was there.
Yeah,
Okay.
And now it is somewhere else in
Somewhere
the building,
else.
obviously.
anyway, so he goes into the office. He sets it down.
I
In
start
the-
walking around the warehouse, going around the perimeter. I'm just
The
curious.
interior of the warehouse.
Mhm. Curious.
So, okay, and you're not doing it still. So Hawk comes out. Could you please? No, don't wander around. Anyway, so
Okay.
some people might remember
Mhm.
that at the back of the warehouse there was a setup for the research library. That's not there anymore.
Mhm.
And there was another sort of station where they were doing things like photographing stuff and creating new cards. And there were ticker tapes back in the back as well that were constantly producing information. None of that is in here anymore.
Mhm.
Now, one thing that is still here in the back right corner, there was an elevator. Not really. I mean, there's a big plate in the floor and
Right,
an elevator.
cargo
It was a cargo elevator, yeah.
Right.
It could-
Later.
Yeah, the kind that comes up in sidewalks and stuff
Yep.
like that. So that's still there, and he starts walking over to it, and he gestures that you should follow.
Okay.
Do so.
I take it you moved everything downstairs.
Everything is downstairs now, except for he's putting in like a car repair area in the main warehouse, and the office here is still here. So, but all the living quarters and the research library are now in the basement,
Mhm.
which we didn't have a basement before, but now we do. I mean, we've had it for a while, but anyway. So he presses a button. Elevator lifts up through the metal plates. He gets on and gestures for you guys to get on. There's plenty of room for all of us. It's a large elevator. There's another button that's sort of on the elevator, sort of on a pole. He presses that, and you go down.
Tell me it's not raining.
It is not raining.
Thank you.
Why did you want me to tell you that?
Because I suddenly thought of a kid's song.
All right.
The ants go marching.
Hurrah, hurrah.
Down into the ground to get out of the rain.
All right. So another thing I want to show you, by the way. So this red thing right there, that's where you guys are. Notice
Water.
you are very close
Uh-huh.
to water and the docks.
Yep.
What's the highlighted street that goes by, presumably right in front?
Gowanus Expressway.
Okay.
So going in the basement means we're well below water level.
You are, as a matter of fact, below the water level. And
I hope this place doesn't leak.
I'm sure it was very carefully engineered, so that was not a problem.
yes. You know, I think they put that big billboard on that building since the last time I looked at it. It wasn't there before.
Okay.
Anyway, so yes, you don't go down a huge distance, maybe 20 feet.
Okay.
And once you're down there, it's really nice. There's no windows, but it's, you know,
Well
wood
furnished.
paneling and nice furniture.
Well
This is
lit.
sort of like a reception area. There's a desk that a
Mhm.
receptionist might sit behind. Right now, Betty is sitting behind the desk.
Hello, Betty.
Hello.
So you guys have a pool table down here?
Not yet. That's the recreation area isn't. I mean, it isn't even roughed out yet.
It takes
Says Betty.
time.
It's. I've been promised that it will all be done by the end of this month.
Excellent. I hope it's been well.
I have been, yes.
Good, good. We're just gonna try and cheer John Doe up a
So
little.
I've been much better than John Doe has been the last few days. That's it's a little worrying. He's never been like this before. As far as I know, he's never been confined to bed.
Does he? You talk to him.
Yes.
does he seem like he's depressed or like he's in shock or?
It's hard to describe. It's
What?
very strange.
What language is he speaking? He doesn't have any accents.
So. There she is. So yeah, he's been speaking English, but he'll switch like mid-sentence to Russian or German or French. And even blah blah blah.
Latin, I guess.
Yeah, Latin. Well, she doesn't speak Latin, but
Well,
Don't like recognize it.
yeah. So yeah, it's really weird. I mean,
okay.
No?
and he's kind of jittery.
Well, hopefully we can talk to him and help him.
I didn't want to bring him to Alice Springs.
All right. So there's a door. She leads you through the door. You go down a corridor. The construction sound is very apparent now. It's really annoying. Anyway, she goes a ways down the corridor, knocks on a door. You hear a muffled come in, and she opens the door, and it's a well-appointed bedroom, and there's John Doe in bed.
Hi, John. Brought you some lunch.
Hi. Hi. Oh, thank you.
So, we heard you were a little down on the weather.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Skip,
Hmm?
what's up?
What?
Skip is German for
Yeah, I mean,
He's confused.
he's confused. You can tell that when you just spoke in German, something is not right with his brain.
Okay, you two are on the job now. You're supposed to figure what's going on here.
I mean, John Doe is never confused. Never.
Yep.
He might act that way sometimes to
Confuse others.
confuse others, but he is, he is never confused.
Yeah. I never studied with Freud, so
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything you did was wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure Freud would be the right one to utilize here.
So here is a question. Is there any reason to think that a empathy aided by mysteries would give me a bonus over a straight empathy roll?
Yes.
In which case,
empathy or rapport would be better.
Empathy. You're not trying to convince him of something.
especially for
You're
me,
trying
I
to
thought empathy
diagnose his state of mind.
fair and rapport at mediocre. So that gets me superb.
Okay.
I should at least have some sense of
Oh, he's superb, did you say?
superb. Yeah.
Jack, I'm a doctor, not a psychiatrist.
Where is it? I know it's here somewhere.
His mind
His
is
friends.
Hmm?
Protect his friends.
His mind is definitely in a confused state.
Mm-hmm. And probably his emotions are shifting
He's-
or jumping around
he
because he's
seems
not
scared.
well worried. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is another thing that you've never seen John Doe scared.
Mm-hmm.
I got a legendary empathy.
That would tell you more than I got.
So, when you have in the past talked to John Doe, he's always been whoever he is.
One person.
One person.
He decides who he's gonna be and sticks
and
to
sticks with it. There is something wrong. He is not just one person right now.
Mhm.
He's echoing his speech, and at least Betty says that he's been switching language mid-sentence.
Right?
Mhm.
Are you going to make a science roll?
Yeah, but I want to ask first. So, did you ever get a chance to read the paper I left you? On truth?
Ah.
Okay.
And he says it. If you heard Ivan Ivanov ever speak, that was him.
Yeah, we did in Russia, right?
Yes, we would have.
So, now I'll make the science roll.
If this doesn't move,
And can I tag that I know what that said about truth? As far as him having read that paper?
Sure.
Okay. I wish to. Okay, so that puts me at epic, and then tagging is awe-inspiring. And, let's see. I'm going to go with I have a theory.
Okay.
Or basically, he's had reality pulled out from under him.
He has, but the result seems to be a multiple personality disorder. But not even a normal multiple
Right.
personality disorder, because they usually come out and stay out for a while. This is like shifting constantly.
Unstable, like someone was trying to integrate.
Stay with me. Just John. Just stay with me. So I understand that it was a little bit confusing what you went through recently, but what's your perception of it, John? I'm accenting on one person, picking one personality.
Okey-dokey.
I don't know what that is to try and.
I am going to
Focus.
be using resolve.
Okay, against.
And what you are doing is probably rapport aided by science. You're
What
trying
was
to
your,
get through to him.
My
but you're using
my
medical
science was
knowledge.
got like +1 finally.
I use a fate point.
Okay.
To raise or lower your
To
resolve.
raise.
And what am I trying to do to get through to John? That's rapport, you said?
Yes,
I
you're
know.
trying to convince him to work with you.
Yep. And can I use
Aided by science.
Okay. That gives me a taste of good. Not the best.
That's where that just went.
Oh, there it is.
Red isn't rolling tonight.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow,
Either that or
that's
you know,
unusual.
you bounced off a parallel world on the way here and shifted your probabilities.
I was gonna say you're rolling like you were Saturday.
Yeah, I think that this is also a good time to spend a fate point. Mentored by John Doe.
All right.
To snap him back to the John Doe. We hope.
Just
All
like
right.
in there.
That's possible.
Okay.
So what
So-
was the final number?
Yeah, just a moment. It's rapport. Aided. Legendary.
Okay. Yes. He seems to be more focused now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gonna pause,
Yeah.
and you know he's trying to focus and be John Doe. So when that person, the guy who was on the altar,
Sent you home.
sent me home, what it felt like was being torn apart. And then it was like
Reassembled.
elastic
Bang.
pulling me back together again.
Oh God.
You guys aren't on board with me about blowing that place up.
uh,
How about you, John?
I don't think he meant to do that.
Mm-hmm. You are unique, and he probably didn't take into account all of your uniqueness.
I don't think he cared.
Yes. If he had just thought about it, maybe he would have done something different.
Yeah.
I suspect what happened to John Doe was that he went to 7 different homes and then snapped back to one of them.
Due to only actually having one body.
Right.
Yes.
Well, that would
Traumatic.
shake you up nicely. Yeah.
Well, what I think you need to do is to do a ritual and have all the personalities meet and work it all out.
That approach might work. Although possibly sitting down and having a hot dog and giving yourself a few minutes to breathe like you were doing too. They're still nice and hot. We packed them well.
Thank you. Well, he accepts a hot dog and he starts eating it.
We give him
He
a
eats it
couple of
slowly,
minutes.
savoring it.
Well, Betty and Hawk are both concerned about you.
I understand.
We're all concerned about it.
No, Annie doesn't care. This is fine. His mind has been fractured. Whatever.
I've seen other brilliant people get past that.
Yeah. Not impossible.
Oh yeah, that's what.
Forgot what color your shirt was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't often wear a white T-shirt
Mm.
with long sleeves.
I don't.
With network systems written down one side.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I have any long sleeve t-shirts.
I think I have two. But
Anyway, getting back to
we
John.
I'm wearing one right now.
continue to try and draw him out.
Mhm.
To help him solidify as John Doe.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be solid as John Doe, but it's a huge struggle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any way we can help you through this?
I don't know.
Okay.
Simon?
I don't know what happened.
I think he would be the best one to explain it, and this is the sort of explanation.
Sort of explanation.
When
You're not
you
even
were in an
hearing.
altered state of consciousness,
at least.
with a shared experience with us in Alice Springs, Australia. Well, the
Somewhat.
dream time of Alice Springs, Australia. And Annie uses her view of what it was. But Simon probably sees it different.
I don't care if he sees it differently. I just want him to we got a way, come up with a way to get them through this.
Yeah, but if an explanation is useful, Simon maybe be the best person to deliver it.
I still say you gotta do some kind of a ritual.
That may be.
So, yes, I'm going to talk with John Doe for a while.
Okay.
I'll explain to him how Simon perceived the dream time and how Simon perceived John Doe in the dream time.
Okay, he listens.
I suspect you may have experienced that time in Alice Springs from 8 different viewpoints simultaneously. 8 different viewpoints and one unique simultaneously.
In fact, you were, most people couldn't actually stand to look at you except me.
John Doe. You're John Doe.
John Doe, yes.
Yeah, this is going to be rough.
And when I was mentioned with him, he considered the others just identities that he would slip into, right?
No.
No.
He always, I mean, it wasn't, I mean, by the time you met him, he had disguise of the mind.
Yep.
And
he become that person.
He would become that person. He didn't have these aspects,
But
he had grown up. He had spent years, literally,
getting to
as
that
each
point.
of those people. And there are people in each of those places that would say, I have known
John
Doe, Joe Bloggs, Heinrich Muller,
For
since
years.
they were a small child.
I'm going to
that person
insist
is
that
a real person.
That person
and
is a real
they
person.
Pretend to be other people for various reasons,
Oh, yeah.
but that's who they really
Yeah.
are.
I'm going to continue focusing on John Doe then, because this is John Doe's house.
Fair enough. And his
The-
base, his
the work, by the way,
home
seems to
city.
be coming along well. I can hear they're busy with the construction, but it seems
Yes.
to be coming along well.
Yes.
What do I have to roll in order to do a mystery ritual to try to help?
Are you going to start a ritual right now?
I'm going to think about what I need to do to start a ritual right now.
You use mysteries as a knowledge based
Okay.
thing.
So just tell me how long I have to concentrate at it, because while they're talking, I'm going to be working on this.
I mean,
Me rolling empathy is
so
a joke.
so basically, you're trying to figure out what sort of mysteries ritual.
I'll have to integrate all his souls.
This
so
would
shall we say.
obviously be a lot easier if you had a mysteries research library here, but I'll say a minute is your base amount of time to think about it.
I'm putting 4 shifts.
Okay, what is that? 4 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 4 minutes, half an hour, yes.
Well, while they're talking, I'll be working on this.
Okay, well.
And then
So
after
what
an
are
hour,
you doing
I'll
right now? I mean, she is trying to,
I'm paying lots of attention to John Doe
yeah.
to try and figure out everything I can about the state he is in and what might be not optimal for John Doe about this state.
Well, why don't you make a mysteries roll? Since I'm assuming that's the way, you're not doing it via
Yeah.
science.
No.
Or investigation.
Yeah, I really want to know. will make it awe-inspiring. Okay.
So whatever part of him was the part that controlled who was front
In
and
charge.
center
Is shattered.
is shattered.
Okay.
And it takes a force of will to focus on just a single personality now. Normally he could switch anytime he wanted to. Not right now. It's not under his control, at least not easily under his control. It's taking an enormous amount of effort. Something pulled him apart, and you probably have guessed what it is.
Yeah.
And it broke him.
And it broke him, yeah.
I look at it as a separated shoulder.
Something like that,
Got
yeah.
yanked out and pushed back in, but you know what? It stretched and tore all kinds of stuff around it.
Yeah. I mean,
Not a
that
bad
central
metaphor.
core of him,
Mm-hmm.
it got very badly damaged.
So from a psychologist point of view, I believe that would be id.
No.
I would
No,
destroy
super
the
ego.
term
No.
at all.
Super ego.
I would say talk about executive function if
Yeah.
I were getting psychological.
Mhm.
Whatever central strand that connects them to each other, including the memory tracks aren't separate. John Doe can remember things Heinrich Mueller knows
Yes.
if he needs to, and so on and
Right.
so forth.
Mhm.
That
In terms of the multiple personality dissociative, yeah, he's missing the executive function.
So, and
But that theory won't come around for about 60 years.
yeah.
Mad scientist!
Centurion.
not her area.
I've got an
area, no,
I've got- I've got an aspect for that. That is a little bit outside my specialty,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just trying to take in as much as I can of John Doe's admittedly unique personality.
Well, it's very different than it has
Than it
been
is
any
in
time
the
before
other
this that you've seen.
Yeah. Well, and you see,
Uncertain, scared, an enormous amount of effort just to finish a sentence.
Mhm.
And
and
the weird thing is when he was saying
he was forgetting who he was.
he
Or
was different
having an
people.
internal- Yeah.
he was cycling through the IMs.
Yes.
Which is why I said Sean.
Yeah. You pulled him back again. He focused again.
So, after collecting this research,
Mhm.
doing this research, collecting this information, then after we leave, I'm going to go back to the Brownstone and library and start thinking about if not cures, ways to help him improve.
Okay.
I mean, a cure would be wonderful. I just
Might also be a tall
Might be
order,
a
especially
psychic
quickly.
splint right now.
Right.
You don't need to be so negative.
hey, I want a cure. I'm
Yep.
just
We'll settle for
I'm gonna try for one.
So are you done now? Is everyone gonna get up and
Well,
leave? There were chairs, by the
yeah.
way, in the room
Yeah.
as well.
So,
So
Well, does this take an hour?
no, they've taken maybe 15 minutes.
I'd certainly keep, stay there, talk not about the most recent adventure, but things we have in common with John Doe that are safely over and done with, and
What was that
can be
guy's
looked
name?
back on.
pass Edgy a note. I should write off the note. It says, ask him what his favorite place in New York is.
That's a thought. That's something I can work into conversation at some point. Just you've been seems like not seeing much outside of this room. What's a place in New York that you really like that you kind of missed?
I like the Century Club.
That brings up a question. So, to the GM, would we know of any Centurions that are very good with the whole psychology type of thing?
Yeah, do we know anybody
Somebody
better than
I
any
might
of
be
us?
able to consult with.
We know one ex-Centurion. I wonder where she is right now. I wonder if she's seen him.
I did think of her because she perhaps could be quite a bit of help. I think we could trust her to have
That's
his
not
best
enough.
interests.
If it's think, we
Yeah,
could.
That's
not
Well,
Yeah.
you don't really want to roll the dice with his
with his
core
sanity,
personality. Yeah. Oh, she thinks it's funny to screw it up more.
no. She
Well-
wouldn't screw him up more just for amusement, but she might think more in terms of what's most useful for her than
Yeah.
what's best for
That's
him.
right.
Who are you talking about?
Freya, I believe.
Freya,
His
his other girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, why do you think she'd be that evil? If she is a Centurion again.
I'm not saying she's evil. I'm saying that, she might be powerfully tempted to self-interest, given given a
Situation.
chance to.
Why do you say that? What facts are prompting you to come to that conclusion?
I would actually be willing to trust Freya.
Are you guys like discussing this
I
in front of
wasn't.
John Doe?
No, we
Okay.
didn't.
I
This
had,
is-
No, we can do this
I had
afterwards.
started this with a question to the GM of
Mhm.
who.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, and not really. It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
It's not a thing.
It's
yet.
not like an action hero sort of
right.
thing that the Century Club members are much more action hero kinds of people.
Yeah,
Yeah, most.
but I thought it was worth the
It's
question.
what certainly was, but no, you guys don't really know anybody whose specialty is the mind
Okay.
from a scientific
Point of view.
point of view.
Oh, I gotta bring in another
In
character.
partial answer to your question, because there's times that she's been ruthless even beyond what's typical of Jack.
Such as?
when we were in Afghanistan.
I don't
India.
I don't remember
I
all
believe it was
the
India.
adventures in enough detail. This is an emotional impression rather than based on specific facts. I grant that I could be wrong.
that far back.
Yeah, neither do mine.
Well, I said this set.
I know.
Do you remember what stunt she has, right?
Now, one of them's mesmerism, I'm sure, but I forget what all. Is
She is the one that helped the French.
yeah, I know.
Spy.
I know she was
Right.
she was very helpful.
Yep.
She had
In
things to
any
gain
case.
by being helpful,
I'm
and
gonna
nothing to
spend
gain
a
by
little
screwing
bit of
around.
while just trying to get him
Mhm.
feeling more John Doe.
Yeah, from Annie's perspective, this is a solvable problem.
Mm-hmm.
Drugs and talk therapy combined should be able to help him out, but it might take months.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's Mind Shadow, which somebody has. partial trance that you put them into, resulting from hypnotic speech. Stunt does not matter. This must be a full trance, which okay. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Whenever you have someone in a full trance, you may plant false memories or remove existing memories. I.e., removing the memories that you got shattered in dream time. That could help. And this is on page 170.
74, 75.
Yes.
Well, Annie has an additional concern.
Mm-hmm.
John Doe has information that should not get out.
He's in the safest place he can be that he owns. Other places that are safe are your airship, my lair, or the Century Club.
I am saying when it comes to treatment, we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to be taking them to any other people who aren't Centurions. I wouldn't trust them.
Jafar.
Jafar,
Mhm.
that's it.
That was his name. I don't know why you wanted that name.
Who's Jafar?
He's the guy who was actually an enemy of the group, but didn't appear to be at first, except for the fact that he kept hitting John Doe with thrown weapons. It was like he would do a backswing. John Doe was behind him. The what was it, an axe or a hatchet or something would fly out of the guy's hand and hit John Doe.
No, to be fair, he did it twice. The first time he threw it forward.
Yes, I was in front of the guy. He threw it forward. He hit me instead of his target.
So he gets
So I
behind
moved
him.
behind him, and then on his backswing, it slipped out of his hand and hit me.
Now, I rolled randomly both times.
Yes,
I hit the
it
sign
wasn't,
number.
it wasn't on purpose. It's just what happened.
The second time was funny because he went like, "Hey, where'd the axe go?"
Yeah. Wasn't funny to John Doe.
I was thinking that.
Really,
So
Phil,
He
what-
was the
what
one who
about-
was trying to remember it, and I don't know why.
So what about Jafar?
One of John Doe's memories.
Not a fond one.
No, I
But
guess.
probably a very vivid one.
Yes. I mean, if you're looking for memories to bring back of John Doe, I
That'd
suppose you
be
could
one.
do that.
You can tell him about that killer shot he made when he shot like 6 guys in a storeroom. The bullet bounced all over the place.
In the room full of gold.
Ah,
Yes. Well, at the time,
I think
what was
some
it? 10 thuggies attacked him all at once
Mm-hmm.
and killed them all.
And one shot, yeah.
Anyway, so yes, there are certain memories that he has that you could bring up.
Well, let me know when an hour's gone by.
Are people actually going to stay here for an hour talking to
I
him?
he
think that-
can if he
I
if he
think
seems
that
to
Annie
be-
would spend at least an hour, maybe as much as 2,
All right.
just trying to help him a little bit, and then
I mean, it's you know it's going to be a long,
long
slow
process if
process.
we have to do it my way.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but you're certain that you could do it.
It could be done.
Yes. And so if we do spend an hour, Jack, you've gotten your hour.
Yep.
So you make a mysteries roll and give yourself the 4 shifts.
And still throw a bunch of fate points.
Well,
We've been throwing the hate points here.
I think it's kind of funny. Modern psychology would want to try and integrate the 8 personalities or 7.
yeah, 8.
Well,
Here we're trying to keep them fractured.
no, I'm
No.
trying
Sure.
to keep one central in front right now.
Well,
No.
yes, yes.
No.
I am not
Switching
trying
back and forth
to
is problematic
fracture
in
or
itself.
integrate.
In
I
and
am
of
trying
itself.
to have one be front and center so that he has a grounding point.
Yes, I understand.
No.
Just
amused by the juxtapositions.
Yes.
You know what you're doing is basically doing a personality executor instead of a RAM executor.
Yeah.
If you're doing code, you actually use where I work.
So,
I'm gonna keep rolling because
okay, you need to tell me what aspects you're using.
yeah, I'll leave Corn and Jack, except this time that sure didn't work.
Okay.
And this one is going to be a
Jack never fails. Or something.
no.
It's never easy.
It's never easy.
All right.
It's gonna be.
Absolutely.
know where your
So
luck
has
is
the
gone.
bad dice slug gone from
One
Brett to you? Is that what has happened?
Yeah, thanks, Brett.
Well,
Yeah,
it had to go
Martin-
somewhere.
Martin, I'm going to sit where you are next week.
Oh, yeah, if it's traveling in that direction.
Sure.
There's no such thing as dice luck.
Really? You're saying that.
That doesn't fit my experience.
Because it's so amusing for me to sing it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
No wonder you weren't saying it with a straight face.
I have a friend who is at the point where he says, there's no such thing as dice luck, but in Brett's case, I'm willing to consider alternatives.
Let's see here.
Wow, that doesn't look like it was a good roll. Have you rolled even yet? Are these all like below?
The other
Even?
one was every problem has solutions. This one is not going to be. I gotta read another one now. And goes. I'm the best there is. Okay, I'll have to live with that. Since I've done this so many times, I'm gonna say back Jack, do it again.
All right. Have you finally rolled above? All right. Okay.
He got to epic.
Now, can I tag anything? Can I tag information I learned from what Simon and Nanny have got?
Sure. Give yourself a +2.
Okay, that'd be awe-inspiring.
All right.
After using life, we're gonna take this.
So, does anyone remember what element represents John Doe?
Water.
Right. So what's happened here, it's like somebody splashed the water all over the place. It needs to be drawn back together again and sort of
Put back in the container
put back in the container,
that is
yes.
shattered.
No,
It's like
it's
he's
tipped over.
yeah. I mean it's
Okay.
it's leaking. He is a leaky vessel right
Yes.
now.
So not shattered, but cracked.
Yeah.
So, well,
What the
Unsorted,
best
but-
course of action would be from a mystery standpoint is first do something to stabilize him, and there are various herbs that could put him into a stable state, and then do some sort of ritual that would pull him back together and fix the cracks, so to speak.
let me see if
You obviously have never done anything like that before. You have a general idea of the herbalism part, but the ritual kind of thing, that's not something you've been in part of before. You would imagine that Simon has at least participated in something like that.
or he has it written down in a book in his library.
Well, he does have a very nice mysteries research library.
So Jack's saying if you remember how we found out what our elements are, John Doe's is water. What I've determined is that his container of water is full of
Mysteries
cracks
metaphor.
and is leaking all over the place.
That was Annie said ha, and he's saying to Annie.
I'm using a
mysteries
metaphor here.
Yes.
Okay.
So the first thing you gotta do is gather up all the spilt water. And I think you can do that with herbs. And then we have to come up with a ritual that will fix all the cracks. And I'm sure it can be done, because if it couldn't have been done, I wouldn't have been able to come up with this idea.
All
So
right.
it has
Well,
to be possible.
if you want to make a mysteries roll right now,
Sure, why not?
You can tag my
you
idea.
can add a +2 for suggestions from Jack.
Well, it
That's a
costs me
wash.
5
I
hit
had
points.
forgotten his element was water.
Let's see.
That does lend some additional depth, as it were, to the metaphor.
Remember? Fire, metal, wood, air. Because you can't see air, but when it pushes on you, it can really do a number.
Just look at Nashville.
Yeah, protect his friends will do. Which will give me godlike +1.
Okay. Yes. You could come up with an herbal concoction that would, I mean, it would stabilize him. He wouldn't quite be himself anymore because water flows and
Right.
whatever. But it would allow you to then bring him back together and fix the cracks, anneal the damage with a separate ritual. You would have to do a little bit of research to figure out exactly the ritual, because while you've probably heard of that, you haven't done that kind of thing
Right.
before yourself either. As a
Well,
lead,
He's at least
practitioner.
done altered states of
yes,
consciousness.
yes.
But so what we have to work on is freezing the water so it doesn't keep flowing all over the place. That way it's all
Freezing would be one
It's
metaphor.
a metaphor.
Turning it to a gel would be another idea of stabilizing it.
changing it to water vapor would not be a good
No,
idea.
you don't want to heat it up. You don't want more activity.
At this
I'm thinking freezing it
stage,
into ice.
Annie would suggest some medicinals that would actually be pharmaceuticals.
Yes,
that
there
can
are
achieve that.
pharmaceuticals that
that would
Annie
achieve
could
what-
suggest that would, if they're saying, well, the first thing you need to do is sort of stabilize the personality, and Annie's like, yes, I was actually thinking about that as part of a therapy. That when I told you it needed to be drugs plus talk therapy, you had been thinking of specific drugs to do the stabilization part.
Well, I don't care.
Simon, you know, if he hears the suggestion from Annie, is like, yeah, that's not really going to do what we want to do in this case.
Well, I don't care which way you go, who's giving them the pills or giving them the whatever it is. I just know that it needs to be done first.
And Annie would agree that without the drugs,
Without
the
the
therapy
drugs.
isn't going to help because he's just going to be scattered.
Yeah.
The therapy is not going to work. You get shattered by mysteries, and mysteries is going to
Well,
have to be used to put
It
them back
certainly
together.
wouldn't work
Therapy
quickly.
would not work quickly.
I'm not even sure it'll work.
I
Annie
believe it
believes it
would.
would, but over a period of months.
I don't want to wait months.
Well,
Agreed on that.
the fact that you don't want to wait 6 months, Annie thinks that that's how long it's going to take.
Right now, all of us are slaves right now, and I don't particularly like it. And so I'm doing something about it. And the one guy we need the most is the one who got damaged the most.
Well, after we're done talking,
Okay.
I'm going to go back to the brownstone and do that research in the library.
Okie dokie.
I will
Should some
ask as we leave.
Yes.
So, Simon, you don't exactly use the same methods as I, but I can probably get the pharmaceuticals together fairly quickly. Is there any reason to believe those would interfere with whatever you have planned? Because I can tell you already have something planned.
It's more like I have the germ will plan.
It might stabilize him in not the fashion that you would like him to be stabilized.
Okay.
It might stabilize him in a way that would make it harder to do the things that you want to do.
Okay.
If
In
you
other
can
words,
come
yes,
up
it
with,
would interfere.
Yes.
Yeah.
if you can come up with a potion or something based on herbal remedies, it would be easy for some of us to deliver it back there for him while you continue researching.
So from the Godlike +1 roll, do I have the?
Yes, you've got the herbal concoction. You know what it is that you need.
I can pass that along to Edgy.
Okay. Well, Edgy, you don't actually have those herbs on you.
Go to the import-export place and get them.
As a matter of fact, you do know that they would very likely be at. It's the place above the
Yeah,
Hong Kong
I know.
Import-Export.
Right.
I
The
know.
Chinese herbalist.
Mhm.
Since you've been there many times, you have a general idea of what they've got there, and they would almost certainly have everything you need. Yes,
And
some of them are kind of rare items.
And you'd have a shadow with you who would be scoping out the place.
Sure. And so I get to I get to be a distraction, lowering the odds that somebody will also notice Jack. Not that they're very high anyway. Fine, I can play it that way.
All right.
So I have
I'll get you a pair of symbols.
I have a recipe and a shopping list. I will I'm guessing it's not really easy to find a taxi right here, or do they know?
Why not?
Where
Okay.
the warehouse is? It's
Yeah.
just
Just
in Brooklyn near the docks.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, the fact that it not everybody knows that John Doe has a warehouse here doesn't
And
mean it's
daytime.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
okay,
3:30 in the afternoon in Brooklyn.
We have this discussion. I'm going to
Sure.
go back in and reassure Hawk and Betty that we're going to work on
Okay.
getting John Doe better.
Betty isn't upstairs.
Okay.
She stopped at the reception area, and
Hawk
Hawk brought you all
Yep.
back upstairs. And so when you knock and
Yep.
press the button, and it's Hawk again, reassure him, and he's
Just
He
address
was-
him as John every time.
Well, that's what I do. I mean,
Okay.
I've known John since he was like 5.
If he starts going into a cycle of I say, John, focus. and
Okay.
such.
Okay.
We have some ideas what the problem is.
All right.
Be
Good.
working on it.
Because
It is very
it is. I mean,
disconcerting. For
very
John,
disconcerting. He's always been
Yes.
on top of it. He's always been the most capable person I have ever met.
He's had a really unusual shot.
I mean, he's literally good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
We will be working on it.
And question for the GM: resources roll of poor. Do I need to borrow cab fare?
Well, you're with the rest of the
Yes.
people. Just have somebody else pay for
Yes.
the cab.
Yes.
But yes, you would need to borrow cab fare if you were all by yourself.
You're with Jack.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll-
Who is
yes,
stealth,
I'll-
by the
I'll-
way.
Simon provides you appropriate cash for
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there any
actually,
shopping?
cab ride across town is poor. So terrible would
I
maybe
got
get you
poor,
like
but Simon's right. I'm making some
He's paying in
purchases,
pennies.
which may be a few.
Oh.
A few of them
Yeah,
may be
yeah.
you.
expensive.
Simon
There's no
just
way you'd
gives-
be able to afford these
Right.
herbs with
Yes.
points.
So I gave him sufficient cash for
Yeah, that's-
buying the herbs.
Right. Okay. So,
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, Edgy says, He opens his wallet. Well, I've got
Bunch of-
$3.
Bunch
Is
of
that
balls
gonna be
fly
enough?
out.
No.
No, they're not
literally,
strong enough to fly. in.
one of the ingredients costs
They
over
didn't have enough to
$100,
eat.
so no.
Although actually, there's not enough wool and paper money to interest them. That's-
Yes, but it makes a wonderful
I know.
graphic.
I don't
I
believe
know.
you can roll under good, right? It's
Under
not
roll?
possible.
I can roll resources.
On resources, actually, yeah, I can.
Oh, okay.
It would let it stay.
Fair is not good enough. Let me just say that for what he needs to buy. Oh my goodness, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
yeah.
That's what I roll.
I have to roll my. I have to
You
roll
only
my-
have $60,000 in your wallet somehow. I'm not sure how big your wallet is.
Well,
It must
wallet
be an
and
extra
money,
dimensional wallet or something. I don't know.
I
He's
suspect
gonna
it
pay
is.
They did. This is a time when they had $5,000 bills.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have any change here.
Oh,
Please
What
don't
was that, the
hand
million pump
Edgy a
note?
$5,000 bill.
Was that the million pound bank note?
There is a $1 million. Actually, there is the mint can produce. They have a plate for it. A $1 million bill.
But it's
I
like,
thought
But it was-
100,000 was the
Well,
top
yeah, no,
one.
they can make a $1 million bill, but they would use it to transfer money from
Mhm.
Country
essentially-
to country.
Well, no, from
From one
One
part of the
from
government to
to
another.
bank to
Okay.
another generally. that
now was
what
it a Federal Reserve note or was it like
It's-
a gold certificate?
It's a Federal Reserve note.
Really?
They've got a plate for it. Yeah. They
The
don't
highest
use it
one
ever
I know
because
of
no one's
was-
ever
was,
needed a
was
$1
the
million note
100,000, which has Salmon P. Chase on it, a former Secretary of the Treasury rather than a president,
What
because
was the
that's
Mark
all
Twain
they
story?
ever used them for.
What was the Mark Twain story?
I think the Mark Twain story was
Million.
Was it the
Million dollar
million pound
bank
bank
note?
note? Million pound
I
bank
thought it
note?
was dollar. Anyway.
It was. I thought it
Anyway.
was. I don't remember.
So yes, you obviously have enough money
Yep.
to give to Edgy, but please
Don't-
don't give him any $5,000 bills because they aren't able to break that.
That's right.
Okay, I'm godlike for myself.
Okie dokie, and you're following.
Mhm.
Jump.
All right.
Getting
We're
in the same cab
cab.
without the cabbie noticing.
Yeah, well, say
Yeah, there's no way the cabbie's gonna notice him.
Well, you can roll a plus
No,
No.
literally, if he rolls a +4, he would have great. So, what the? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a shadow or a spirit. He's not going to be
He's
able
not
to
even
get
somebody's
godlike.
lieutenant. He's
No.
a cabbie.
He's a cabbie.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see a cabbie with alertness at average
You
rather
need to
than
reduce
mediocre,
hawk
but
shoot.
anyway. Okay, so away we go. I have a recipe and therefore a shopping list.
All right. I mean, it doesn't take very long at all. You have to go across a bridge, but
Mhm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to Manhattan and go up to the Chinatown area, and you go to where the herbalist shop is. You go up the stairs.
Mhm.
And there's the door.
Who's on the desk right now?
The counter.
Yeah.
It's a little old lady.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen her here
Yeah.
before. She works the counter.
So I'm going to start investigating this place really well. Starting
Okay.
with her.
Okay.
And I think Edgy's having his list.
Yep. Yep. I will be.
She raises her eyebrows at two of the ingredients
Mhm.
because they are not normal ingredients. They are like top shelf. She has to climb a ladder to get
Yep.
them.
I just say something Simon Wells is working on. Since he also
Yeah, you
shops
continuing
here
to
at-
roll crappy.
Yes.
You rolled well on your stealth.
I know. It's getting old.
So she's going up the ladder. She says, "Don't look under my dress."
And I say, of course not, ma'am, very politely, conspicuously looking the opposite direction. And I'm
Okie
sure there's a
dokie.
calendar or a picture on the wall or something.
I like my investigation.
Okay. So
I penetrated under her disguises before.
yeah, godlike is good enough. That's actually Yen Li.
Kind of suspected.
And yeah, you have 2 shifts on her disguise. So you know, I don't know what information you want other than it's her, but you can have one more piece of information of whatever kind you ask.
Is this a common disguise that she
Yes.
uses all the time?
It's frequent.
Is there a real old woman who sometimes takes her place
You,
instead of
you
her?
can't tell that from looking at her.
That would be interesting to find out. It's actually 2 people.
Is she disguised as someone
Yeah, if
else
you had
in
gotten this-
particular?
At a different time and went, "Oh, that's not a disguise. That's actually this old woman," then you would know. But that hasn't happened. Every time you penetrated her disguise, it's been her.
Okay, and then they got this mouse. She's obviously not using her natural voice.
That's
She's trying
correct.
to sound like an old woman.
Yes.
So
She does sound like an old.
Yeah.
It's,
Yes.
There's no trying about it.
Edgy is not tried investigation, but
Yeah.
you know.
It's
It's-
a legendary disguise.
Yes.
I would have a decent chance of seeing through it, but my mind's on other things right now.
you're looking at her skirt.
I don't think so.
Who wants to look up an old lady's skirt? Because her disguise is complete enough so that if he did, he'd see an old lady's legs and
Then he
you know,
has
whatever.
To, then he has to roll resolve. So.
no, he doesn't.
Endurance?
I am being
No, he
polite.
just doesn't look up her dress.
I have no reason
just
to get
gave-
her annoyed at me, whether it's Yen Li or merely someone who
middle of
works
the-
for Yen
Okay.
Li. There's
Who-
no
who-
benefit
who was
to.
that?
Okay, how about this?
I'm
Are the clothes that she's wearing like brand new, or are they like really worn, like something an older woman might have? I mean,
So yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, for instance, I have T-shirts that are 20 years old. Whereas she obviously would not have a dress that she had been wearing for 20 years because she's the same age as you.
Boomer.
So she bought this dress within the last 3 years. But not, I mean, old women buy dresses as well.
Yep.
So it doesn't mean that it isn't an old woman's dress.
Just out of curiosity, how many different ingredients am I getting here?
You are getting. What are you doing?
I'm guessing.
You're actually getting 12
Hmm.
ingredients. I don't know why you were flashing your hands at
I
me.
was figuring 10 to 20.
Well, in
Not that
the low
10.
part of that range.
Let's see, 20.
He wasn't doing
ASL.
sign language. He was
Yes.
just.
I recognize
you
a
probably
few
recognize.
words, and actually, I don't know number words very well.
I just know the
Neither do
letters.
I.
just know the letters.
So, it doesn't take a huge amount of time. It's
Mhm.
kind of a long ingredients list. And
Mhm.
like I said, there's a couple of them that are way up on the top shelf because nobody ever asks for them.
Mhm.
So,
I wonder what conclusion she's going to reach about this.
well, she just rolled -2, so that's not good enough for her to figure out what you're doing. And she doesn't feel the need to spend a fate point.
Right.
All right, so that doesn't take a huge amount of time, like 15 minutes total. She doesn't move very fast on the ladder. Is
Yeah,
one of the problems.
she's
And she's got to measure everything out and, you know, get it into little paper bags. And she gives it to you, and she charges you the $300 that it comes to. So, fortunately, you asked for some money before you came here.
Fortunately, Simon was thinking far enough ahead to go, you know, it's not just
the
a matter of
$3
the
in your
cab
wallet
fare.
wasn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
Are you heading, you know, back to the Century Club now, or?
Is Century Club easy walking distance from Chinatown?
Depends on what you consider easy walking distance. I believe it's about 2 miles. I mean, I walked 2 miles to get to here.
Right. As soon as I am, as soon as I'm a little ways away from the store, I don't know if Jack is following me or not, and I'm not trying to find out at the moment. I will get out my watch and send Can You Talk click code to Simon.
Where are you now? You're in the Brownstone? Yeah, that's close enough. Sure. You receive the click message.
Sure.
I've got your ingredients. Shall I catch another cab to the Brownstone to get them to you as quickly as possible?
How long will applications of this potion tea, whatever it is I want to call it, be good for stabilizing John Doe?
It would probably work for a day.
Okay, so I want to wait a little bit then. Cab walk, whatever. Cab walk, whatever.
I'll stretch my legs.
Okay.
By standards of early March, it's a nice enough afternoon.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not snowing. It's not especially windy.
Not even completely overcast.
Yeah, it's mostly cloudy, but that's kind of normal.
So I will say at lower than an ordinary conversational tone, but not whispering or muttering really softly. Yeah, it's such a nice day. I think I'll walk.
Well, obviously, if Jack, you went with Edgy, right? Oh, okay. Did you not want the people on stream to see that, or I'm not sure why you felt the need to write it down, but
I want him to know because he doesn't know.
Right.
Okay, whatever.
I'm not trying to investigate to figure out where Jack is right now.
All right.
I don't want to accidentally give him away to someone else because I have mediocre deceit.
Right. So it takes 15 minutes for you to walk to the Brownstone.
So I will ring the doorbell and figure there will be somebody there to let me in. It probably won't be Simon right now.
He's busy in his research library.
Yep.
It's Dryden.
You have servants?
Yep.
Yes.
That's one of them.
So I will say
I have an apprentice, a personal secretary, a butler, and a man of all work.
Dryden the butler.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I say I have some ingredients Simon wanted me to pick up. I believe he was expecting me.
So what instructions did you give for when Edgy showed up, or did you not give any instructions? Because if you're in your research library, your mysteries research library, normally the normal thing is you do not want to be disturbed because you're in the middle of research and that would break your concentration. But if you said something specific like John Francis Edgerton is going to be coming by, he has something for me, I need it right away, or have him come in and talk to me, or whatever.
I'll not to be a jerk, but I don't remember him saying that.
I know.
I'm
letting him specify that.
Have him come visit.
Okay.
I
Certainly,
can bounce
sir.
off whatever. Because
He might want me for an assistant in whatever he's doing. I'm not saying this to drive me, but
Okay.
that would definitely.
Probably got James running errands for me in the library too.
So yeah, I mean, if you have a companion that can help you with mysteries,
yeah,
and yes, then they would be there helping you, giving you that nice +1.
yeah.
So yes, he'll bring you up to the mysteries library, and they'll knock on the door, and
James will let them in.
okie dokie. There you are with your stuff.
Hello, Edgy.
Hello.
So,
Having an interesting afternoon, James?
Yes, fetching a book every 5 minutes is so interesting.
it's probably worse than that. Between
Well, I also have to put the books back. Yes.
well, no, this is actually Scott. Because there's a certain amount of I need that book, and then I need that book.
Mhm.
Because between the walking library and the Akashic research, the one is worth a -1 to time, and the other is worth a -3.
Yeah.
We have a bag of ingredients, and I can give you your change if you want,
It's not worth worrying about.
which is what Edgy figured he would say.
Wow, now you have like $150 on you. That's a lot better than $3.
So how long have I had so far?
About half an hour.
Okay. Which, looked at from the other point of view, is about a day's worth of research.
Yes. So you are coming to the end of your research by the time that Edgy shows up.
Okay.
You have an idea now of what you need to do.
So one question is, do you want a dose of whatever this is going to be, tea, tincture, potion, whatever you want to call it, delivered to JD yet today, or I don't know whether that'd be useful or not. If nothing else, might be good for his peace of mind, but
okay, so I have an idea. How soon do I think I'll have a fully fleshed ritual?
So it's coming together. You would say that, later today, you would have the whole thing written down and ready to go. One part that you do realize is that an environmental aspect might be helpful. So if you could find some place that that has a benefit for this particular kind of ceremony. maybe his warehouse, but his warehouse has been changing so much that it's probably not the right place for this. If you knew where he was born, that would help. But he doesn't, as far as you know, he doesn't know where he was born.
Right.
Make an academics roll.
Steve has a suggestion, but Steve isn't there.
Because at one point, John Doe did relate certain aspects of his life to the group. But I don't think that Simon was busy memorizing every detail of John Doe's life. So
I know a secret is perfect for that one.
okie dokie.
Which will make an epic academics roll.
So one of the defining moments of his life that he mentioned was that just as, okay, so he was part of a traveling theater troupe. Just as they were leaving Liège, Belgium, war broke out. And everybody in the traveling theater troupe and the horses that were dragging the wagon all died. Everybody except John Doe. It was a defining moment of his life. It's when he decided to become a spy. It's when he decided to be himself. What you think of as himself.
When 1914.
Whenever the Battle of Liège was.
That's the beginning of the Great War.
19.
It's more like
It almost certainly would have been.
5th of August, 1914.
as I said.
Yeah, I was thinking it through and agreeing. Yeah, it would have been sometime in the latter half of 1914. That was as far
It was
as I
the
got.
opening engagement of the German invasion of Belgium and the first battle of the First World War.
When did poor useless Archduke Ferdinand get off? That was like more than a month earlier.
That was back around June.
Anyway, so that, if you could find that place, you know, it's outside of Liège, and maybe John Doe could give you a better idea. But it's an event that formed his personality, that
Right.
that made him go into being a
What he
spy.
became.
Right.
Yeah,
It'll give you a +2 environmental bonus.
absolutely. The same thing would be true of if you could find his specific, like the location of his physical birth. But
That would be tricky.
Yeah. Yeah.
he doesn't know where it was. He doesn't know who his parents were. So that would be a little harder.
What would happen? Okay, so the whole dosage that I've got of the potion will stabilize him for about a day.
For a day, yes.
Could it be split up to get?
Just go back and buy more drugs.
Well, there's the question of. The
Do
question
they
is,
have
Some of the ingredients we may run out of what they have in stock.
Homeopathy. Diluted in the bath.
Don't do that. No. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Instead of maybe, might you go and find out? Plus, there's probably somebody else in the
well, okay.
city of New York that has this.
So, why are you asking this question? Why would you want to split it into doses that last less than a day?
Because it might be useful to have John Doe be front and centered and stabilized and have some discussions with him.
You're not going to discuss anything with him when he's under the effect of this drug.
Oh, okay.
He'll be basically in a trance.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
So
He's going to be that stabilized. Let's say.
okay.
That isn't the sort I was going for.
No, absolutely not. That is not what you would be doing.
Mhm.
So no use having him in that state.
Yeah, in the drugs that you would feed him, he would be lucid and have conversations. He might get confused at times, but he wouldn't be in some sort of trance.
That
That's
isn't
not useful for talk therapy. No.
Right. Yeah, if somebody can, if you or Annie, I think would be the best. Could talk to him and find out where outside of Liege the traveling circus got destroyed.
So you do know that.
Sort of surprised all the horses died at that point. You think they had been trying to capture them? Horses
I
are still
assume that what
useful.
happened was
Yeah,
that
they
artillery
got
bombardment.
they got
out.
caught in their
Yeah.
artillery bombardment.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know they were heading from Liege. They were going to Berlin. That was their destination. So they were heading east. Of course, the Germans were coming in from the east, and there's a limited number of roads that would be reasonable to think that they were taking.
But the histories probably don't have enough information.
You
to narrow
know,
it
there are
down.
probably people who know.
Yeah.
You'd have to go there and do contacting. And Jack doesn't speak Belgian.
Or you could ask John Doe.
Right, and that's why I'm saying, Edgy or Annie, go ask John Doe.
Do you speak French?
Oui.
Then you've got about 2/3 of Belgium covered.
Ich spreche Deutsch.
That covers most of the rest.
Yeah.
Well, if
What's
I'm being
what's
asked
the relationship? What's the rest of it? Walloon?
Flemish.
Flemish, okay.
Flemish.
I'm going to do academics to just see if
It has
I-
nothing to do with phlegm, okay?
It's a
Pun for the
common.
night.
I'm not considering that a pun.
Okay.
so you haven't used up your pun allotment for the night.
Yeah, when
And they
Simon
don't carry
says
over, that's
something
the
about
real
finding
thing.
what state he's
They
in,
do
I
not.
have a
You
really
don't
hard
get
time not
extras
saying New Jersey.
Anyway.
You can't save it up for 3 sessions?
No.
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 We already explored that possibility.
No.
I
What
would
happened
like
to
to
Steve Scott's
see if
character in
academics, I
was.
guess it is, see if I actually know we're in Liege, because I was mentored under John Doe.
And
With
yes.
Annie, the
Wow,
story. and
Wow,
the
we're back
details
to
and
normal.
all that stuff.
Situation normal.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of fate points.
Okay.
More than me.
So let's see.
Well, you know the aspect mentored by John Doe is
Yep.
probably the one you're going to use.
Yep. And I think rather than risk a re-roll, I'm gonna spend a minute or so thinking it's good. Plus, I don't know what 1 or 2 shifts. I don't know what recall
What would be the base time
for.
for
Do
remembering?
I recall this?
I mean, it's yeah. To recall a memory like this would be like 4 seconds.
So 2 shifts is what?
Minute.
A minute.
A minute. Yeah. So that would get me up to superb.
Yeah, that's good enough. So yes, there's a specific road that is the main road, which is the one that they would take, and the one the Germans were coming in on.
So,
So
how
you can
precise- Yeah,
you can give him a stretch of road. You don't. I mean,
Yep.
even at that, you don't know the specific
Mhm.
Yep.
exact spot.
But that would narrow it down to like a mile
Yes.
or less
Yeah,
stretch
Yes.
of one road.
So
Okay.
after thinking about it, I asked Simon, so just how precise do you need it? Because I know what road they were on.
I probably need it to within 100 feet or so, don't I?
You do.
Okay, I will go see
100
if-
yards.
100 yards.
Okay.
Within 100. You need to know within 100 yards.
I'll go see if I can get the information from him.
Thank you.
And I'll call a Pox saying I'm coming to visit again and
Okay.
then go.
All right.
It works much smoother when you tell them you're coming.
It does, as a matter of fact.
Especially there.
So, yes, you, I don't know, knock on the door, press the buzzer
whatever.
button, whichever you want to do,
It's
and eventually,
probably the
like
buzzer.
15 seconds
So
later, the
is there.
rolls up and he opens the door and yes, hi.
Hi.
Have you figured out how to fix John?
Simon seems to think that his solution is better than what I was going to go with.
Yeah, I don't trust that sort of thing very much, but
Well, I am always somewhat hesitant, but the argument was brought up that that is what caused it, so that fixing it is probably the proper solution.
okay. I
Uh,
don't know what that is in this case, but
I-
whatever. So you're here for
I wanted to speak with John Doe again.
All right.
See if I can get some more information out of him.
sure. And
Uh,
he leads you over to the elevator and
takes me down.
takes you down, and there's Betty again at the desk. And,
Say hello again.
hello. And so the three of you go down the corridor, and she knocks on the door again.
I always wanted to be a Foley operator.
Okay. Yes, come in.
And I'll go in. Hello, John.
Hello, Annie.
Yes. And I'll lead into the conversation, but say you told me about Leeds. Can you go over that story again? Liege. Sorry. Brett can't.
Leeds
hear.
is in England.
Right.
Liege is in Belgium.
Would have been a very different war.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
So yes.
yes, Liege, the Battle of Liege. Yes,
And the circus you were with.
traveling
Circus,
theater
traveling,
troupe.
Right.
It seemed a little like a circus at times, but no, it was a traveling theater troupe. Yes.
This is why I'd like you to refresh me on the story. And I get out a notebook to take
All right.
notes.
So he'll describe it. I mean, they left early in the morning, and they had been going for about an hour on the road. He confirms that it's the road that you thought it would be. And then the shelling started.
Yeah, that's right. The first explosion would have been utterly without warning.
Absolutely.
Peaceful
Yep.
warning, then a large quantity of high explosive goes off. Well,
So yes, no one was expecting it.
Yeah.
But John Doe got out of the wagon because he heard something incoming, and then the wagon was gone, and so were the horses, and everybody in the wagon was dead. So it's obvious from what he's having trauma reliving this. Is this going to help somehow?
Yes. As I recall, that was one of the things that really made you decide to take the path you did in life.
Yes. Yes. I
And I try and relieve a little bit of the trauma once I've got the information.
yeah.
And
I went back to Paris, and then yes, I joined military intelligence.
in Paris.
Yes.
Problem here is that Annie would switch languages naturally, and she
Yes.
has to not do that.
And he starts going,
John,
yes, John.
is there anything more I can get you? Okay.
No.
Well, we will do our best to help you through this. Just a few more reassurances, and if there's something more Annie would think of that she could do, she'll do it now. Otherwise, it's
No.
okay. Thank you for your time. And I'll leave, saying bye to everyone.
Mhm.
Once I'm well out of it, well, no. Once I'm back at a phone, I'll call up Simon.
Okay. Back at your airship
Sure,
then?
yep.
Yeah, there's a phone
There's
set up there.
communication
Yes.
there, and give him the approximate time it occurred on the road. I would have to check some maps and such, but we should be able to narrow it down fairly well. The biggest thing is the speed at which the theater troupe was moving, which I gather was a walking pace.
And yes, a normal horse walking pace.
So there could be a little bit of variation depending on how ornery the creatures were, but we should be able to come up with a fairly accurate.
Okay.
And
If you
there
can do
may
that,
be
please.
some records that could be searched to get better information. But yeah, I'll get the map and such. And I'll have the pilot set course for the Century Club. They'll have the better research information
That's
on that
true.
kind of stuff.
They'd have the best maps of this area, of that area that you could find on this continent.
On this continent.
Meanwhile, I have been looking at some of the same book Simon was consulting, trying to get a little better understanding of how the ritual is intended to work, and making careful note of the herbs, what they look like, what they smell like, in case I need to.
I will
find
also
more
warn
ingredients.
Simon that Hawk wasn't enthused by the idea of you taking charge of the treatment.
He's not a mysteries guy.
Yeah.
That really surprised me.
Yeah.
Most people who aren't mysteries people are like, that's a bunch of hooey. I mean, I've seen weird stuff before, but I've also gotten blind drunk and seen stuff before.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it means anything.
Annie had trouble defending that as a course of action, but
Thank you, Mott Urich, for subscribing with your Twitch Prime subscription. Yay! And I hope you're enjoying the stream.
Rick
Jack is
is-
having a very boring time watching this quote old lady in the quote. Sit behind
And
the counter of the
there's
Herbert
not a
store.
huge amount of business here. I mean, there's some people come in for herbal remedies, but it's like it's a little overpriced here. But then again, they have stuff that nobody else has.
Yeah.
So
The price is not the very best in town, but boy, you can't beat the selection.
yes, absolutely. So, maybe every half an hour somebody will come in and they'll buy something from the old woman. And then they'll go. Nothing else seems to happen. Make an investigation roll followed by an academics roll.
Rick has a practical point of order. How are we going to get John Doe to the place that crystallized his?
That's the investigation.
Mhm. I can't do that with academics.
I wouldn't think so, no.
I mean, unless I can tag a lot of stuff.
Jack is going to take care of that.
Yes, he is.
You still have the teleport.
He'll have the
You-
telephone.
I will have a teleporter.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
That
this
is
is
required.
considered a new adventure.
Yes, I know.
So he hasn't formed his device yet, but whatever, he's probably going to make it a teleporter again.
It's a practical sort of thing to have.
Never easy. Especially rolling in academics. That would be a good.
Okay. So, you think, so when people buy stuff, they ask for something. Sometimes they'll have a list that they'll read off of.
Oh. It takes care of that. So. No. I did. Great. That's what the
Okay, good. Sometimes they'll have a list. They'll read it off. She'll confirm what they want. She'll sell them the stuff. They'll give her money. She'll give them the stuff, but she'll also give them a piece of paper that she's written on, which is usually just like the list of what they just bought. But you notice that at certain times she's writing an extra character or two that doesn't seem to have a relationship to the stuff that she just sold. It's in Chinese. You understand Chinese. It also, yeah, I mean, so your really good investigation helps you here. That these characters seem fairly random. Like, they have nothing to do with herbalism. It's like, house. Okay, why is she writing down the symbol for house? Or fortune? Things like that. It's probably some form of code, and it's only about 1 out of every half dozen customers.
I guess I thought it was a demand for money, or an extra charge. to
Make
pay.
an empathy roll. I know you can't be good at everything, and that's something you're not good at. But
It's even worse than that.
you're not going to get this from what's written on the piece of paper. You need to be observing the people.
Could be empathy aided by investigation.
Sure.
Since he's been
Yeah.
watching so closely.
Okay.
Body language and such.
Well, if I do that and say right place, right time, that gets me to superb.
Okay. None of the people seem threatened. I mean, they take the piece of paper and look at it always. They're just making sure that it shows what they got, and then they get to this extra symbol, and none of them seem surprised that there's an extra character, or sometimes two, on their receipt that has nothing to do with what they got. But they don't seem like scared or angry or threatened. None of those things. It's like, well, yeah, it's expected.
More like someone getting a potentially important but
did-
not surprising
Did he
message.
get to the level where he'd know whether they know what it means?
I think it's superb. Pretty good.
No, they don't really seem to be. I mean, they expect there to be something
They
extra
expect-
there,
But
they are
they-
probably not the
not
intended
the-
recipient, or they must have to
decode
Decode
or
it
something.
somehow.
I'm going to start writing down all these extra symbols.
Okie dokie. Ninjas, thank you very much for the raid. We are being ninja rated. Unfortunately, we're going to be ending in about 5 minutes.
No, that's a good cliffhanger. Just as we're ending on Ninja
The
Raid.
ninjas come in.
The ninjas come in, or like 551 ninjas.
Oh.
that's,
Wow, that's a lot of ninjas.
that's a lot of ninjas.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, you can take out a ninja in one shot. 10 in one shot. That's a
Yeah,
shot.
so that's a lot of shots. I
Yes.
don't have that many bullets.
I do.
But still about 90 apiece. That might take us.
Sorry,
a
we
little
don't have cake or cats. We do have dogs.
You don't have a copy of Exploding Cats around?
Yes, he
I have a copy of
does.
Exploding Kittens.
Yeah.
Exploding Kittens.
But that's not really the same thing as cats.
Yes.
And definitely not like cake.
No. But if you want to show, oh my
Oh,
goodness! If you want to show off a dog or two,
No, actually,
Oh.
we have a dog chew toy.
no, that's not a cat. No.
Black.
So ninjas, how was Dream Daddy?
it's a flat cat. It's a roadkill cat.
Sail cat.
Irene informs me his name is Splat. The children are all more or less sleeping. I
Oh,
don't think I
well.
want to disturb them.
You don't want to wake the dogs, I guess.
They might get noisy again. Okay, fix that.
So
It was down to crumbs. I think
That's
someone
fine.
needed to finish.
yes, you have a pad and you have a writing implement.
Yep, I do.
You can write down these characters and you know what they're for. I mean,
You know, kanji.
what they mean in Chinese,
Yeah.
but they don't seem to have any relationship to anything. I mean, it's like she's writing down a random Chinese character. Except obviously she's not writing down a random Chinese character. Your empathy would have told you if that's what she was doing. She's writing it for a reason.
I don't know what the coding is.
How many different kanji are there? I'm trying to remember.
20,000? Say 20,000.
Thousands. Quite a
Tens
few.
of thousands.
Yeah.
at this
Say
Yeah.
time.
20,000.
Yes, it's a very different sort of question than trying to figure out if someone is using a shift and letters type of cipher.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is almost certainly code rather than cipher.
Yes, you would need a very large number of characters to be able to try and decode.
I can't speak about 1924, but in 1983, the Chinese reduced the required number of Chinese characters, that is, say, ideographs,
Yes.
to about 7,000. That's to get out of secondary school.
Yeah. So that's not the total number there is or were. It's just the number that you need to know to be, graduating from high school, basically.
So the Japanese have made it about 800, I think, what I remember, for like newspapers and magazines.
Well,
Or is it like 1,000?
it's closer to 2,000.
Okay, but they
I'd have to look in my Kenkyushu to be sure.
they made the decision to try to make
Yes.
it less difficult.
Okay, we're going to call it here.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody who showed up for the stream. If you are not already following me on Twitch, please give me a follow. If you want to find out what's going on in my streaming schedule, you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is the same thing as my Twitch, Kevin G. Austin. I'm not sure when my next stream is going to be because I have to help my father-in-law with his computer tomorrow, which I know everybody loves to do that kind of a thing. So it depends on how badly he screwed up his computer. But as per normal, it will be sometime in the afternoon whenever I get home. and I will be streaming Realm of the Mad God. So I hope to see everybody then.
47?
Have a good night.
If I started out with 49, that means I used 2